Welcome to SpiritLed Radio. I am your host, Heather Strang, and this is the first episode of SpiritLed Radio. Today we're going to be talking about why this life is so damn good. And I can't wait to get started today. We're also going to answer a question that some folks from my community have submitted, burning question about living spirit-led, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we even arrived here, where we're at right here, right now. So I have long desired to have a radio show. I can't even tell you where that desire came from, but for my high school senior project, I did it on radio broadcasting. I went to like Z100, which was like the big morning show that I loved growing up in Oregon. Grew up on the rural Oregon coast and came into the big city and went to the radio stations, worked at the local radio station. I ended up marrying a morning show host and was on his show all the time, and we did bits and all kinds of fun stuff. And so radio has been a constant presence for me, and I've always wanted to have my own show. And the advent of podcasting and all of these things happening, I've asked Spirit, like, how do I do this? And, there's all these different ways to do this. What does it look like for me? How do I make this happen? And the other day after meditating, I was getting up to get water. I was walking actually back from getting water to the computer, and it just popped in. You're going to record SpiritLed Radio and you're going to put it up on YouTube, and you're going to keep it really simple and awesome. And that's the way I love to do things. So it is born now, and they'll be giving us a new topic every week to chat about. You can submit questions that you'd like to have answered by me in a higher consciousness perspective through emailing me, and we'll give you all those details at the end of the show. So why is this life so damn good? I recently brought through a transmission from the JOGs. For those of you that are new to me, I'll just give you a brief overview. The JOGs are 5 non-physical guides that I translate higher consciousness transmissions from. I met them in 2013 while at the John of God Casa. They have revealed to me that they've actually been with me my entire life, but it took me being in that expanded vibration because the vibration is incredibly high at the Casa Gardens in Brazil that allowed them to come through for me to get the message clearly and to know that they would be working with me. In February of 2015, thought I was having an anxiety attack, went into meditation. I heard, after 30 minutes of meditating, I heard, open your laptop, close your eyes. I started typing, out came the transmissions. And so they've got me back in a daily of receiving transmission mode. And recently they brought through this beautiful transmission about living this life and really getting to experience it in a whole other capacity. So I'm sure, myself, many of you may resonate with this, that we often feel like our life is defined by specific moments, right? When we meet a love, or we get married, or we have children, or we get that promotion, or we start that business, or we make our first 6 figures, or whatever it might be. We tend to define the value and the quality of our life based on these big experiences. As someone who has been an overachiever a lot of my life, I certainly banked my worthiness and my feeling of success in my life on achieving things, getting the 4.0, getting the scholarships. These were the early things that made me feel like, oh, I'm a worthwhile person, being, on the student government and newspaper editor. And I went to town and I just kept it going because that was how I established my sense of feeling self-worth. And so in our culture, primarily in the Western culture I'll speak to since I'm familiar with that, there is this strong achievement-based focus that only allows us to really feel successful when something big is happening and when we're doing something and we're achieving success and we're achieving recognition. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but as you may have experienced and as I have experienced, it is a fast track to burnout city. You just don't get anywhere really, truly, when you're banking your life on these achievements, because when it's not happening, how do you fill yourself up? How do you feel worthy and feel great about who you are in the world? Because the fact of the matter is, I am so fucking worthy, and I don't have to do a damn thing to have that worthiness. And the same is true of every being. You are so worthy. You matter so much simply because you're alive, because you're here. Do you know how many components had to come together for you to be here? Do you know how many beings, like non-physical and physical beings, had to come together for you to be alive and be here right now? You're so fucking worthy because heaven and earth moved to allow you to be here. And we forget this, right? Because we get caught up in the story of life and that only if I'm achieving this or that or, have this level of success or this person recognizes me or this person loves me, am I worthy? And we forget the divine truth, which is, God damn it, you matter. You matter simply because you're here. I'm going to start crying. I have a feeling this is going to be a key component of Spirit-Led Radio. I will be crying because it's so true and it's so amazing and we forget it. And I lived the first 30 years of my life not knowing this at all, thinking that I really had to make people happy. I had to achieve things. I had to be recognized. I had to do something to be worthy. And so I continued that trajectory, and what that would lead me to was one level of burnout to the next. And health has been the way that my spiritual awakening has occurred again and again, the next level and the next level of it, because we're on an eternal journey. So the fallacy of this whole setup of being achievement-based or recognition-based is that it never stops. Okay, there is nowhere you're going to arrive where it's ever going to be enough to fill you up. Right? I thought, okay, I make 6 figures and I'm like, I'm there. I made 6 figures. And then the question is, when are you going to make 7 figures? I'm like, what the hell? I just got here. Can we slow this down? But it doesn't stop. And that really got me looking for, how do I really enjoy this life? And how do I really measure my success in this life? Because I'm measuring it on these outside achievements, and yeah, they're great, but I'm fucking burning myself out. And no sooner do I get to the place I want to be, and then it's like, no, you got to go to a whole nother level. People joke about this, when they meet someone and fall in love, then everyone starts saying, when are you going to get married? And then as soon as you get married, it's like, when are you going to have kids? You have one kid, when are you going to have another kid? It's like, really, could we just stop for a second and enjoy the magnificence of the fact that we are in a body right now? Heaven and earth moved. There are legions of angels and ascended masters and source energy and guardian angels, and your parents did their thing to come together to allow you to even be here. So who cares if you make 6 figures or have a baby or don't, or make 5 figures, who cares? Does it really matter? And so when we go to the higher consciousness perspective and we ask that question, the answer is that no, it's not that it doesn't matter, right? That you don't do things, you don't matter. Or you do things and it doesn't matter. It really is about dialing it down, bringing it into the core of your body and getting really clear about what is true success for me. Because when it is chasing the big things, trying to make the next thing happen and the next thing happen and the next thing happen, you're not truly living your life. And so this is what I experienced, that I wasn't truly living. I was going from one achievement to the next. And yes, I was having, these highs of energy of yes, I did this thing that I set out to do. And yeah, that's fun and that's cool, but that's not truly living. That's one aspect of living. And so a higher consciousness perspective is, if you feel the call and the inspiration to line up the energy to create 6 figures in your life, or line up the energy to create a beautiful marriage or a beautiful child or whatever it is, that's great. But that doesn't make you any more or less worthy. And that certainly doesn't make your life any more or less successful. And the message that came through recently from the JOGs that just cracked my heart open at a whole other level, was that they want us doing the laundry and so excited that we get to do the laundry. Driving our car, so excited that we get to be in an automobile and there are these roads that were created so that we could drive on them. Being so excited about the fact that we get to wake up and we're in this body that does things, and we get to eat food, delicious, amazing food. We get to interact with other beings on the planet who are also living out their unfolding and their evolution, and heaven and earth move to bring them here because they have something to contribute that matters. And so this recognition and this need for achievement is really born out of a wound that says I'm not worthy. And where higher consciousness and my connection with the JOGs keeps bringing us back to is you're freaking worthy for the simple fact that you are alive. And then what do you do from there? How do I want to contribute to this amazing planet that we get to be on? Hello, can we just stop and do you believe how beautiful it is to be here? The trees, the grass, I'm looking at this beautiful expanse of water in front of me, and the birds, and everything. And I know I sound like, I make jokes about Eckhart Tolle because he used to annoy the shit out of me because he would talk like this. And I'm like, what is with this guy? But when you are connected to Source, this is how you get to see life. And you don't have to be on any substances. I'm not on sugar or caffeine or alcohol or any of that. You actually get to feel the way that people are chasing to feel through substances and through food and through drink. You get to feel that more of the time when you allow yourself to know your worthiness and your divinity right here, right now. That has nothing to do with whether or not you hit this mark or that mark or got this grade or that grade or got first place or 10th place or whatever it is for you. And so we have to put it into perspective about what this life is really about. And this life is first and foremost about you are here because you are so worthy. You are so divine. You are so amazing. You think that higher consciousness, all these non-physical and physical beings would do all this work to get you here because you didn't matter? Because you had nothing to offer? Absolutely not. And so when we can connect to that knowing and allow ourselves to feel it in our body, and what I'm finding is I really feel it in my body when I am really present to what's happening right here, right now. And that may be driving to go get my facial or going to the grocery store or doing laundry or making a meal or reading a book, and just being so present with what's happening in that moment and how cool it is that I have hands that can hold this book and I can read it. It sounds so simple. And again, I'm telling you, when I was at different levels of my consciousness, I would have been like, that sounds nuts and I'm not interested in that at all. Show me where the money is. But when you get to the place of really being able to feel your worthiness, you know it's not about the big stuff. The JOG said, when you start living like this, you have a string of these delicious moments. And then you realize, because 20 years is going to pass, whether we live this way or achievement-based or whichever way we want. And then you realize a year, 2 years, 20 years from now, I've had the most delicious life. And maybe I got married or met the love of my life or got divorced or started a business or started a new job. Maybe I hit 6 figures. Maybe I hit 7 figures. Maybe I didn't. But I still had the most delicious life experience because I was fully present to the divinity within myself and the divinity all around me. Oh, doesn't that feel so good? Can you feel that in your body? Let's just stop the illusionary game that says, I only matter if ... fill in the blank, because we all have our story about what that means. What if we get to live totally appreciating that we're alive and we're in a body? And depending on our body, we have various levels of functionality. I have never, for the life of me, been able to touch my toes, or I'm the least flexible person, I swear, on the planet. I don't have it. It's never going to happen. I've done all the things. It's just not my bag, right? So our bodies all have various levels of, I don't do triathlons. I don't run. No, that's not what my body is here for. So we can appreciate whatever level our body is at and whatever level of capability our body is at. And be so grateful that our eyes open in the morning and we get to enjoy looking at whatever we're looking at the person we're looking at, having the conversations we're having. We get to be fully present to how it feels to put gorgeous clothing. We get to decorate this body however we want. The jewelry we wear for ladies or men, the makeup we wear, we get to decide how to decorate this gorgeousness, and then we get to interact with other levels of gorgeousness all day long, every day. Why? Because we chose to come here, and because heaven and earth moved so that we could be here. Seriously, it's the coolest thing ever. And so I'd like you to take from listening to this practice into your life of really allowing the mundane, I'm using air quotes over here, allowing the mundane to be the extraordinary that it actually is. Because this life is extraordinary, and it has nothing to do with how much money you make, who loves you, what you do in the world, who's recognizing you. It has nothing to do with any of that. This life is extraordinary, and the only way for you to feel that nature of the true divinity and extraordinariness of this life is to allow yourself to. This is the big component of living spirit-led. This doesn't happen to you. Your life does not happen to you. You must be a willing participant in everything that is happening. No one can shift your perception. Only you can. And you get to make that choice because you're in a body that allows you to do that. You have the power of your mind that you get to focus. Too often we've allowed our mind to lead us. We've allowed our mind to do the focusing for us. And guess what? The mind focuses on where it's been used to focusing. The mind runs programs until we say, oh, wait a second, mind. I'm not actually going to focus there. Something recently that happened for me is that I would notice my thoughts going to a fearful place out of habit. And I could literally see the program in my mind scanning, where's the thing to be afraid of? Where is the thing? Who are we afraid of? Where is the thing that we're afraid of? Looking, hey, I've got a program of fear. We've cleared a lot of those fears. I'm feeling a little uncertain about what I'm supposed to be afraid of right now. And it was looking to find, okay, where can I hone in the fear? And I saw the program running and I said, you know what? I could just as easily focus on $1 million. I could just as easily focus on taking a delicious, I love baths, taking a delicious warm bath, being all cozy. My thing is I take a sea salt bath and I watch some junk food TV, or I watch a movie, all romantic comedy, because that's my thing. So I literally saw the program and then said, you know what? You know what would be cooler than looking for something to be afraid of? It'd be so much cooler to focus on something that really just seems fun. So we have the ability to retrain our mind. And as we raise our awareness and as we raise our level of consciousness, we're able to catch those programs, see them in action, and then redirect them. So then it's less about the mind running us. In fact, it's not about the mind running us. It's about us running the mind. Saying, hey, whoa, cool program you got going there. I don't really like that anymore. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And again, we chose our mom and dad because they were going to give us the programs we needed to evolve what we needed to forward. We'll talk about that in another segment. But I really want to encourage you to step into your power here. Step into the power of this life because it's amazing and you matter and you wouldn't be here if you didn't. So we're going to go to one of the questions. I put it out to my community. Spirit gave me this amazing insight of okay, this is how you're going to do your quote unquote radio show. And it's not even technically radio, but I like the thought of having a radio show. So we are calling it SpiritLed Radio. And so I put it out to my community. Hey, what is the number one question you'd like answered about living Spirit-led? And one of the questions that came through that several people also said, yeah, I want to know the answer to that I loved was, how do I freaking balance this? I've got kids, I've got a husband, I've got, all these different responsibilities, different iterations of this question was well, then how do I fit in meditation and be consistent and blah, blah, blah. And, how do I balance all of this? And so I took it into meditation and said, okay, what's the best way to present the answer to this so that you can really hear me and you can really feel me and you can make this shift in your own life? So the first thing to know is living spirit-led is not like trying on a diet or trying on a new hairstyle or trying on clothes, right? In fact, you hear this a lot with food now. It's like, it's no more about the diet. It's about changing the way that you eat and allowing it to be your lifestyle. So living spirit-led is a lifestyle, which means there's no segmentation or compartmentalization of it from your relationship with your husband or your wife or the relationship with your children or the relationship with your employer. It is your lifestyle. It is a lifestyle choice that is seriously the coolest ever. And I totally think the world would be a much happier place if we were all living in this level of magic. But if you feel the call to living this way, because there are specific souls that are ready to live at this level while in a body, while on this planet, I want to encourage you to let go of this feeling of like, this is another thing for me to do. Because living spirit-led is not a lifestyle that you have to like go out there and like buy all new stuff to like put on the spirit-led lifestyle. Living spirit-led is who you really are. So all you have to do is clear the shit and the junk and the programming that says that's not true. And so when you're interacting with your children, with your employer, with your partner, you're coming from that place of who you really are. And one of the beautiful gifts about this is you get to teach your children how to do this. So this is not like, yeah, mommy or daddy's trying out this new thing. Let's see what happens. It's like, I'm going to be who I really am, which is a spirit in a body who has a specific mission and purpose in this lifetime. And I'm so worthy that heaven and earth move so I could be here and be here with you. So how are we going to dance this divine dance in the most magical, abundant, kick-ass way that we can? And so I know a lot for moms and for women is like, I have to give to my children, I have to give to my husband, I have to give to everyone else. There's nothing left for me. Well, ladies, that is an old paradigm, and I want to encourage you to stop participating in it. You are a spirit in a body. You are the force. You are the force that the masculine follows. You are the force that your children follow. You set the tone. Which means, guess what, everybody? Daily meditation for mom is number one. And guess what? We're going to do that as a family. Because you need to meditate too. So you're going to make this a part of your life. It's not about trying something on, or I'm going to go get all the things I need to be spirit-led. Yes, there are transmissions and programs and meditations and all kinds of tools that I have and that many have to support you on this journey. But it's about making a commitment to being who you really are and stopping the segmentation and the compartmentalization of living your life as though you were these different things for different people and this different being for different people. I talk about spirit if I'm talking to the checker at the grocery store. You should see the looks I get, even in Portland, Oregon. Or if I'm talking to my family, that's some serious looks. Or if I'm talking to a community, someone who's part of my community, or I'm talking to my best friend. There is no difference in how I show up. I was talking with a friend of mine who lives overseas, and she said, well, how are things going for Heather the human? I said, you know what? There is actually no separation anymore. There used to be my career and my business, and then me and my social and personal life. That no longer exists. This doesn't happen overnight. This comes from a genuine desire to live your most authentic version of you. The most you that you can be. And sometimes that means having conversations with people, and certainly with your children, if this is something, you are bringing into your life now more fully, is to have that conversation and just say, I just realized I was not living the truest version of me. I was doing a lot of things because other people wanted me to do them. And I've got to change that. And that even will affect our relationship. I want to empower you as the divine little being, but they're not little, they're souls too. You're the conduit that they came through. but they've got their own path and purpose and mission, and you want to empower them. And so you've got to demonstrate it to them. The same with our men, ladies. The masculine is going through a huge awakening process. The divine feminine has been there for some time. We have to lead by example, and we do this by ending the compartmentalization of our life. There is not one area of our life that we're spirit-led in and another that we're not. And when people talk about, not being able to find the consistency or the balance to the meditation practice or using the tools, all that means is you're on your way to becoming more of who you really are. And right here, right now, you may not have the full 100% alignment to allowing yourself to be that divine being all of the time. And that's okay. That's okay. I hated meditation. In fact, I told people, and I want you to be very mindful of any time you've ever said you're never going to do something, because I will tell you, almost every time I've ever said, I'm never doing that, freaking do it. I was like, I would never stop drinking. That's crazy. I love wine and champagne. And then April 25th, 2015, I was like, I'm done drinking. Okay, well, that's weird. I said, I will never meditate. Who can do that? My brain has things to do. Yeah, my brain was full of programs. I was really busy running them, but that was not helping me. So it takes time. I had to get so sick that I was like, oh my God, everyone from Western medicine, and this is the truth, people, everyone from Western medicine, scientific studies, religious leaders, spiritual leaders will tell you meditation is the key to peace, happiness, good health, everything. So if you're not meditating every day, you're just not 100% there and 100% ready to live your fully aligned spirit-led life and your best life. Even if you don't want to even talk about spirit, if you meditate every day, spirit will get in there and it'll be amazing. But if you aren't meditating every day, it's just showing you there's a gap, and that's okay. You're on the path to it. So once you realize whoa, I haven't meditated in a few days, start meditating again. Not a big deal. But we've got to let go of this compartmentalization. And for so long, that's how we were trained. That's how we were conditioned, right? We've got our career, we've got our personal life, we've got our social life. Remember, in self-development, they would make us write out what are the goals that you have for all these different segments of your life. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm all about simple, and Spirit's all about simple. Let's start with going right to the core. Let's have the intention of being the most authentic, truest me that I can possibly be in every area of my life. And then you follow the things that feel in alignment with that. The teachers, the classes, the vacations, whatever it might be. Oh yeah, and we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in another episode, but you don't have to take vacations because there's nothing to escape from. You don't have to get drunk because there's nothing you need to alter your consciousness from or use any substances because you are fully aligned. So you're living in this magic most of the time. It's just the coolest thing ever. I wish someone would have told me about this when I was a child, but I'm happy that I made it here anyway. So the balance question, it's different for everyone. It looks different for everyone, but it starts with letting go of compartmentalizing and keeping it simple and coming back to how do I be the truest, most divine version of myself. And when you have children, yes, you have a responsibility. You're their guide. Up until, 0 to 6 for sure, they're absorbing everything you're bringing near them. They're in total theta state. They're amassing all of their programs from 0 to 6. It's a very crucial time. So you want to have those conversations and let them know and say, hey, we're going to meditate together. Family meditation night. It's 11 minutes of their life. Everyone will live. Everyone can do this. You're going to bring it into their world because that's who they really are too, and they know it. Your animals know it. I had a message from one of my clients saying every time I put on your transmissions or your meditations, my cats are just right there. Folks listen to their sessions from me and their animals are jumping on them, right? They feel the source energy. They know the alignment. Children, animals, they don't have all the conditioning that adults have. So they get it and they go for it. They love it because that's their true nature and it's the true nature of who you are. And you're just in the process of discovering that. Okay, my loves, feeling that we've come to completion on this topic. It's so awesome to start this. It feels so good. My long-awaited dream is now coming to pass in a way that Of course, I never would have thought, but it's perfect. So perfect. I was like, God, why didn't I think of that? You guys are so smart. So awesome to share with you. If you feel resonant with what I've shared, if you're feeling the yes on this, go to heatherstrang.com and ask to be guided to the best way to align with me and work with me and join my community. You sign up and subscribe. You get an energetic toolkit. We give you all the tools you need to keep your energetic and psychic health clear, which really is the core of all dis-ease in the body-mind and is at the core of really allowing yourself to be the truest, most authentic, most divine you in your life. If you have questions that you'd love to see brought onto the show, email heatherstrangassistant@gmail.com. So excited for our next installment. Enjoy this delicious life because it is so good and it keeps getting better. And it's because we get to do this together. So much love to you.